What's going on? Dylan Conrad, Metabolic Momma Secrets. Today I'm going to talk to you about the fact that your hormones don't have calories in it, and that's not why you're gaining weight, and other stupid shit that coaches say. Before I get into that, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, turn notifications on, Spotify, iTunes, follow, notifications on, all helps the algorithm. So, I used to be one of those coaches, so I'm not even going to bash them. I think it was just from a lack of knowledge about hormones, and specifically obviously women are more susceptible to hormonal imbalances than men are, and in a industry that's predominantly men, there's just a lot of misinformation and a lot of just lack of knowledge in the realm of women's hormones. And I think it's there's some stat that that thyroid, if you have low thyroid, you can be asymptomatic, which means that you just don't show any symptoms, it couldn't affect you. But women are 15 times more likely than men, if they do have a low thyroid, to actually exhibit symptoms. So, and I think just women in general are more susceptible to have hormonal imbalances by a whopping percentage. I don't know exactly what it is, but they're gonna have more imbalances. And why is that, right? Why are women more susceptible to hormonal imbalances? Why more of them have hormonal imbalances? Well, because women get pregnant. And so there's a lot of different hormones in that regard, specifically cortisol, thyroid, and estrogen, that get kind of out of whack in this whole array of life. And then you add in things like stress, nutrition, lifestyle choices, like sleep, all that stuff. And it's kind of a recipe for disaster, especially in nowadays where there's so much demand on women to work, take care of the kids, basically do everything, and there's just so much stress in that regard, especially new moms. It's just tough. So if you're suspecting that you do have a hormonal imbalance, there's a lot of tests out there, and it's tough with the test because hormone, if you do a blood or saliva test, for example, it's not going to really. There's a lot of variability in those tests based on what time you test it, who's testing it, what they're looking at, all that stuff, day of the week, where your cycle is, where you are in your cycle. So there's a lot of different factors. I like the questionnaires better because it's pretty black and white. It's yes or no on these questions, and those will give you a better idea of do you have low thyroid, do you have low cortisol, high cortisol, do you have low estrogen, what's kind of going on. And then from there, if you have a lot of yeses in those categories, you can actually start getting some blood work done in that regard, just to kind of confirm it. So that's in that. But if you're kind of wired but tired, wired throughout the day, tired throughout the day, exhausted, just have a hard time getting going, and that night you're just wired, watching Dateline or thinking about the stock market or your kids or whatever, that's a sign any change in mental focus or just mental health stuff going on that's brand new. If you have unexpected weight gain but you're not doing anything different, if you're storing in different parts of your body, if you're just super irritable without any explanation, nothing's changed. There's a lot of different signs. I think libido and energy are the two biggest ones. So if your libido is just in the crapper, that could also, mind you, if you're using birth control to kind of regulate your cycle, that could actually contribute to that libido being super low. But it could also just be a hormonal imbalance or both. So that's definitely something to take care of. But if you're experiencing low libido, super low energy, just overall not too pumped on life anymore, that could point signs. I'm not saying that it's going to be a hormonal imbalance. This definitely is something to look into. So if you're listening to this, you're I wonder if I do, hit me up. I'll send you a questionnaire, and we can probably not yourself and myself, but we can set a time for you to speak with someone from my team a little bit more in detail and see maybe if we can help you at all. We're obviously not sure, but always good to have that conversation. Just knowledge is power. So anyways, hope this was helpful in some regard regarding, hormonal imbalances, testing parameters, things that you should and shouldn't do. A lot of different things, by the way, actually, what I want to get into real quick before I hop off here is a lot of these can be treated by lifestyle changes, and supplementation and just the right nutrition and exercise program. For example, if you have super high cortisol, the worst thing you can be doing is running or like any like steady state cardio. So that's something you definitely want to make sure that I'm sorry about the background noise. Fucking shit show here. Like, I need to get an office. I swear to God. Excuse my language, by the way. But yeah, so there's a lot of lifestyle and training and nutrition things that you can do to really like counteract that, and that's actually the first thing you should be doing, because if you're taking a medication, that's just really masking it. It's not really like getting to the root of the problem. And there's a lot of different areas you can make modifications, and then obviously you're changing your lifestyle, which is hard. So always going to have another set of eyes that from a third party that's not related to you that has coaching experience. Just going to put it out like that. So yeah, and I'll kind of get into like in the future, kind of like, you know, low thyroid, like lifestyle stuff you can do, nutrition stuff you can do, all that stuff. And then I'm going to get into a bunch of other stuff with you guys too about cortisol and estrogen, because those are like the main three that you'll see imbalances on. Hope this was helpful in some regard, and it was kind of ranty, but there's a lot of good nuggets in there. Dylan Conrad, Metabolic Momma Secrets. Please like, subscribe. Love y'all.